how realistic is Trump's claim that foreign incentives pose a national security threat to Hollywood?
Seems that President Trump is insisted to support the American movies productions in particular. From the first moment he took office, has formed a committee headed by Sylvester Stallone as an advisor of and to promote for the American movies, and he's about to issue resolution trying to, as he described it, to support and to redominate the American movies. And I think they are a very critical resolution, and if they were going to be implemented shortly, we've seen government in Australia and New Zealand and Canada as it is very important and serious if it has been implemented. In fact, some of the studios out of US to produce movies, and some workers have lost their jobs. But imposing a discrete amount of tariffs would affect the American movies negatively. And I imagined that the US cinemas wouldn't have a resilience before such resolutions.
Mr. Mohammed, what would a 100% tariff on foreign-made films mean for the US studios that shoot overseas? What are the implications?
I think the matter is related to the capabilities from the first place, and secondly, for disseminated the American movies. I've already spoken with one of the Egyptian stars and said that such tariffs would have some sort of a retaliation, and if European movies would impose the same, so it would affect catastrophically on the cinema industry that were affected lately. But I think the amount of damage wouldn't be equal to impose such tariffs. Ultimately, the American movies are disseminated worldwide as they are the pioneer, even in the Arab region. Therefore, gaining monies out of this without taking into consideration on the dissemination worldwide, Trump didn't take this into consideration.
How might this policy, do you think, affect international collaborations and co-productions in the film industry?
This would be related to the financial matters more than his claims that affect or it is related to the national security. For instance, films made in India and China as well as South Korea is trying to disseminate their cultures and their languages. A great portion of the American movies, either in Europe or in the Arab regions, is the number of movies produced annually, and the profits gained adopted by some studios of great budgets. And I think the response wouldn't be different than the same tariffs imposed in the economy. So, hence, would create retaliation, and the ultimate loser is the American movies. And I think this we should ask ourselves why these studios went to produce the American movies overseas. Simply the answer is the grants and incentives made by these countries to the studios. So it was better for Trump to grant similar incentives and to regain the studios instead of responding by imposing tariffs.
And could such tariffs lead to increased production costs? And will that trickle down to the audiences, do you think?
The audience damage would be represented not to produce the American movies abroad as it happens now. It is known for the American movies to be disseminated worldwide due to the number of the audiences and viewers to watch such movies. In return, Europe produce a great portion of films we've seen even in Oscars would see the domination of European market on the rewards. In return, there is only a few number of European countries produce movies with high quality and compete even in the rewards inside US.
In your opinion, Mr. Mohammed, what do you think are the main reasons studios have shifted production to places like the UK or Canada?
UK specifically preferred not to retaliate and even in order to explore the details of these resolutions. So the presence of studios within US due to the high cost and fees. So these studios went abroad to places that they may produce these films with less cost. So, as I mentioned, and the tariffs imposed by Trump would make the workers to return to their places, as several thousands of workers full duty lost their jobs because of such withdrawals inside the US, and therefore I imagine we should wait for knowing more details in order to waiting for the European retaliation from one hand, and from the other hand China also is waiting to make some retaliations.
And what do you think might this have on the streaming giants like Netflix or Amazon, whose productions span multiple countries?
Netflix specifically withdrawn some of its productions abroad due to the big incentives provided to them. Therefore, there are American platforms but produce their productions in any country that the monies were provided. Particularly, its dissemination is a reality now. According to the workers' syndicate, stated that more than 12 to 15,000 cinema workers have lost their jobs, and therefore Trump may see in through this resolution an attempt to regain America's position as a first and pioneer platform to produce worldwide. But I think in light of the European productions and the entrance of other countries providing a good and high quality productions, the matter won't be that easy.